Stephen Mansfield, New York Times bestselling author and speaker.
Doug Tenaple, I'm the creator of Earthworm Jim.
Tweet Groups.
I'm Victor Dweck.
Joseph Carter, I'm the Mink Man.
This is Dave Baker from Forged in Fire.
This is Leanne Morgan. I'm a comedian, and this is why you should never
Not ever.
Don't waste your time.
Oh, you really should.
listen to those darling, yummy Reverend and the Reprobate.
Hey everybody! Thanks for joining the Reverend and the Reprobate.
Hold on.
I'm never ready. I'm never done with what I'm doing. But are we not recording at all?
You would have to be doing something in order to not be done with what you're doing.
No, I'm doing something.
What are you doing?
Right now, I'm trying to do our show.
I'm the Reverend Lucas Pinker. We'll be here with you all evening tonight. And with me is a guy whose mom is just the nicest, sweetest lady on God's green earth, second to my mom.
Look at that.
Ragin' Majin. Hey there.
Is she out of prison?
The Reprobate. I don't know. I'm not keeping up with your mom. That's weird.
No,
So Danley's here with me also, and tonight on the show we've got Nicholas Perdomo III.
Mm-hmm.
He's just got such a regal name.
Let's call him Saint Nick. Fine.
Hey guys, welcome. No, Nicholas Perdomo III is on with us tonight. We talk about the way that some of the new FDA rules are going to be impacting or potentially impacting the tobacco community, specifically with cigars and flavored cigars. Mm-hmm. We discuss a little bit about his background as a drummer, growing up playing David Crowder songs, which we thought was pretty interesting. His favorite drummers of all time. We get into a little bit in controlled rowdiness. We ask some questions from the fabulous, wonderful, the talented, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dave Yancey.
And lastly, we get new jobs.
We do. So,
I mean, they may be fairy tale jobs.
All that and more on this edition of The Reverend and the Like, Subscribe, and Ding the Bell Reprobate. All right, Danley, on our airwaves today, we have one of the guests that I've been looking forward to for the last several months. We've had some hit and misses trying to get him on. Not only is this man one of the family members of my favorite cigar family, the Perdomo family, but also he's a very prolific drummer. It's Nicholas Perdomo III. How are you doing, man?
How are you guys? Good to see you, Lucas. Good to see you, Dan. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
thanks for coming on the show. So I'm guessing you've been a Perdomo for most, if not all, of your life. And we've got just a ton of questions for you, not just about the cigars, but about how things in the cigar industry might be changing. And I know that there's the big question on everybody's mind, and I just want to...
What are the rules in the Perdomo house? Are you allowed to smoke cigars indoors?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's the one that we all want to know.
My wife's not a big fan of the idea behind that. I'm working on a couple things because it gets hot down here in Miami, so I'm working on a couple things how I can smoke in the house and not get it the smell. I've been putting new filters. I'm working it. I'm trying.
Sweet.
All right.
I'm in your same shoes. She's allowed me to smoke in the house, I think, 2 times now.
Yeah.
And it was always a
I
special
should be able
occasion.
to smoke in the house. The smoke is what pays for the house, so look, I think I should.
That's exactly right.
Good point.
Yeah, you wouldn't tell her that she can't office at the house during COVID. I can be getting smoking.
You can't bake in the house. It's going to make it smell like cookies.
Oh man! So I just want to touch on this because I know it's a sensitive subject. There's so much in the cigar industry that looks like it has the potential of changing. There's a lot of speculation after the president's address about how the rules in the FDA might change things that are going on in the cigar industry, specifically as it refers to flavored cigars and some of the new taxes. Are there adjustments that you guys are having to make right now that are looking in the future are going to change the way that Perdomo does some things, or right now you guys just hanging tight and saying we're going to hang on and do what we've always done?
Sure. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, we've been working on this really since 2016 when we started when we started getting putting our brands that were prior to February of 2007, and we started submitting that into the FDA, to the government, and basically we've been approved because my dad started the company in 1992, so we've been preparing for this for over 5 years, and we're preparing, really to be regulated, but. I hate to see what's going on. We don't make any flavored cigars, but I don't want to see anybody get regulated any banning, because I mean, if you start with those guys, then the government starts pushing the door little by little. So I hate to see what's going on. But in terms of Perdomo, we've been preparing for this for a long time, and we have multiple brands that have been grandfathered by the government, by the FDA, and so we're looking in really good shape.
Now, one of the things that's so unique for our listeners who don't know about Perdomo in particular is that they handle up front a lot of the tobacco taxes so they don't get passed on to the customer. It's one of the reasons why their cigars can be so highly rated and at such an affordable price point across the brand line. So with the increase in taxes, I can see not only how that would be something that's passed along to the consumer in a lot of ways, but also that could potentially affect what you guys are doing in the way that you've always done it, in the taking care of the customer first idea and philosophy that y'all have always had. So we've discussed about what kind of questions we wanted to ask, what cigars we want to talk about, and this, that, and the other. The thing I'm most curious about is, from what I understand, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Perdomo was one of the first families to move to Nicaragua, and all of the other cigar plantations that are in Nicaragua, all the other tobacco plantations, are incredibly envious of the plot that you guys were able to get, because not only are your cigars able to have a lot of strength, but they also are incredibly flavorful, really, really smooth. What was the impetus behind you guys being one of the first to move to Nicaragua, and how did y'all kind of pave the way for some of the other companies to get there?
So, I mean, my grandfather, in 1996, my grandfather had some old friends that were in the industry in Cuba, and they really talked about how great the tobacco in Nicaragua was. And in 1996, at that time, there was only a company called Naxa, which is owned by JR, and Hoya de Nicaragua. Those were the only two running factories, and I believe in 1996, from what my dad told me. And we were the third to come back, because this was right after the Sandinistas, right after the revolution with the Sandinistas, and things started opening up. So my grandfather said, "Hey, we're moving to Nicaragua. We were getting destroyed here in the United States." My dad was paying, I think cigar rollers were making more money than my dad was, because the wages here were just so expensive. And we were a really high-priced cigar, not because we were trying to play any type of game, but just because the cigars are really expensive to make here in the U.S. And so, we moved there in 96, but we really didn't start growing tobacco until about 2001. And so it was always my dad's dream to start growing tobacco. And so the farms that I believe you're referring to, we have multiple, but the one in Estelí, it's called Finca Natalie. It's after my sister, and it's one of the most beautiful farms. You guys got to come down our factory tours next year and really see it. And then also we have another beautiful farm in Jalapa named Finca Janine, which is after my mother. So we have some really, really beautiful farms. We're very blessed, but we've been there for a long time.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures on your website, and
unbelievable.
And at this point, I think we can probably wrap, because we were just wanting to get an invite to come.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we were wanting, was an invite to come to the tour. So we got it.
We're good.
Yeah.
I'm down.
No, all joking aside.
So what was it about obviously the Nicaraguan tobacco and the way that you guys moved? What is it about the Nicaraguan tobacco, or that area in particular, that produces such great cigars?
It's really the grounds. They're all volcanic. I mean, you dig down 20 feet, it looks like topsoil. It's just it's the best soil that I've ever seen in my life, and it just produces such rich, lush tobaccos that have so much flavor. And really, Estelí, that's the powerhouse tobacco. That's just really, it's got a lot of body to it. It's perfect for, it's just perfect for anybody who really likes a medium to full body cigar. Those are the tobaccos that they're powerful, but there's such a balance to them, especially when you cure them and age them properly, or ferment them and age them properly. They're just really great cigars. I mean, really great tobacco, just because of the grounds, in my opinion.
That's awesome. The funny thing is, whenever I go to CI, Cigars International, or another cigar shop, the first thing I'm always drawn to is Perdomo, because of the display, the packaging that you guys have. Like, it stands out and it pops out. So that's another thing. In addition to having a great cigar, my eye is immediately drawn to the shiny gold and the 20th anniversary all of those different colors and display the way it's displayed.
My last name is Pinkard, so anything that's got the big giant P on it that's on all those cigars, those are the ones. Yeah, those are the ones. Whenever my brothers had kids, those are the ones we got because it had the last name initial on it, and they're not cigar smokers. So they were like,
I thought you started off by saying whenever my brother and I were kids, we got. I was like, what?
No. Whenever my brothers had kids.
Well, that's why it's going illegal. It's your fault. It's not illegal.
But that's what, instead of it's a boys or it's a girls.
FDA
we found the Perdomo cigars, and the anniversaries have the big P stamp on them. And so we went and got those. My brothers were like, what is this? Did you get this custom made? I was like, no, this is just the guys that do this so well. So you guys are celebrating the 10th anniversary of a couple of cigars. You just did the Maduro. You've got the Habano line that's coming into their 10th anniversary. What's that been like, and what are you guys doing to promote those, which have been two great labels for y'all for the last several years?
Our biggest brand is our Perdomo Champagne, the 10th anniversary champagne. And Habano's right behind it. That's our number 2. That's a real big brand. That's a brand that came out in 2014, and it's just a real special brand. It's something where that cigar just utilizes 6-year age tobaccos that all, outside of the Connecticut shade wrappers, everything's Nicaraguan Puros, the sun-grown, the Maduros. And that was a cigar that we really initially started marketing as our barrel-aged wrappers. Mm-hmm. So that's how we came out with Perdomo Habano bourbon barrel aging. Even though we've been bourbon barrel aging since our days when we started champagne, but almost 21 years ago when we came out with Perdomo Reserve Champagne. But that cigar, the Connecticut wrappers are barrel aged for 8 months. The sun-grown wrappers are barrel aged for 10 months. And the Maduro wrappers are barrel aged for 14 months. And it's just a really fine blend. And then also, what was the other part of
the Maduro? The Maduro 10th anniversary, I think, just recently was released. The one with the blue band.
That's the one with the blue band. Also, we released the red band, which is the sun-grown. 2 huge sellers. Those our biggest release that we've ever had in the history of our company was our Perdomo Reserve Champagne with the Connecticut wrapper. And this brand, actually both the sun-grown and Maduro, that's the biggest release that we've had since our Perdomo Reserve Champagne, which is our biggest selling cigar. People love the cigar. Everybody loves the sun-grown, but the Maduro, there's something about that blue, and everybody really loves it.
Yeah, the Maduro's been great, but the champagne is what started me on Perdomo.
That's what I've had quite a few of. I don't think I've had the barrel aged yet. That's the next one I want to try.
Yeah, so the Habano Sun Grown is my favorite out of that line, but the champagne is a staple in my humidor. And whenever I have friends that are wanting to try cigars for the first time, they're like, I don't want anything that's too strong. What can I get that's smooth, where I can recognize some flavor notes? Because you hear people talk about cigars the same way that they talk about wines. Oh, well, this one's got some cherry notes to it, and it's chocolatey. And then you get if you don't have a palate that's attuned to that stuff,
you gotta let it breathe.
Yeah, as soon as you start smoking a cigar, you're like, I don't understand any of this. But it's a process like anything else. But too many people start off with a really strong cigar because that's what their buddies get them, and they go and they puke.
But what was
and
the
then
one
they
that
come
we
back
did?
and they never want. It was what he was talking about, the Nicaragua de Hoyas.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
We used to be big sissies, and we would try to smoke this cigar, and we would throw up.
Yep, every day for months.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I threw up many times in my life off cigars. I've been grabbing them I was smoking them as a little kid, taking them from my dad when he wasn't looking, and I threw up many times in my life. Don't worry about it.
Were they all Perdomos?
Yes.
Yeah. Good man.
Sweet.
So the champagne is the one that I typically start people out on if somebody's new to cigar smoking, because it's just a phenomenal stick. But if you were to introduce somebody to cigars that's never done it before, where would you start them in their Perdomo line?
I would start them in Perdomo Champagne. To be honest with you, Lucas, we don't make a mild cigar. Perdomo Champagne, just to give you an idea, but our eyes are sometimes, they don't tell us the truth. When you look at a light wrapper overall, you think it's a light cigar. A medium wrapper, it's a medium body, and a dark cigar is a full bodied cigar. But the truth of the matter is, it's really what's inside that filler. And Nicaraguan tobaccos are really bold, and they're very rich tobaccos. So the thing with what we do is, for example, Perdomo Reserve Champagne, it's a very smooth cigar. That's because those tobaccos are 6 years aged. That's because those wrappers are barrel aged in bourbon barrels for a minimum of 8 months. So they're very smooth. but it's actually a very strong cigar. As a matter of fact, it has, in the nicotine level, it has about 3.9%. So if you took a light Connecticut wrapper and put it over Dominican fillers, on average, the nicotine levels are between 1.7 to 1.9. So you're talking almost over double, to be honest with you. So they're strong, but the whole thing is how do you blend it? How do you make it where it's balanced? And you got to really use well-aged materials, well-aged tobaccos.
For reference, are you aware what level of nicotine are in cigarettes?
A heck of a lot more than cigars.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, because they add nicotine. We don't. I mean, naturally, tobacco has nicotine, like how coffee has caffeine. So it's naturally within tobacco, but through curing, through fermentation, and those nicotines tobacco begins to round out.
So, what, in your opinion, is your favorite or the best Perdomo cigar right now for 2021?
I love them all, but I would have to say I smoke everything. But lately I've really been enjoying the new Perdomo Reserve 10th anniversary Maduro. Have one here in my pocket.
Good man.
For my next cigar later on, and I love our 20th anniversary Sun Grown. I also love our Habano Sun Grown. So those three are really in my rotation, and Perdomo Champagne as well. I love the smoke of champagne.
All right. Well,
I have one in my humidor too.
The champagnes. Yeah, the champagnes are great. I will always go and buy the 5-packs whenever I see them, because I know that we're gonna have people over that want a cigar that is nice, it's smooth, it's well rounded. So I'm always like, here, dude, smoke this one. And
have you ever gotten a bad reaction from?
No,
you're like, ooh, I don't know, it's a little.
Yeah, the champagnes and the Lot 23s seem to be winners with every new person that comes around that I've had to smoke cigars, because they're so smooth and so great. Well, I want to shift gears just a little bit, and I want to talk about some of your musical career, because we've seen you on Facebook a few times playing the drums, and I'm curious as to what got you started into music, and how are you using that to sell cigars?
So my dad's the reason why I'm a drummer. I watched my dad play. I remember he would always talk when I was a little kid. Oh, I used to be a drummer. So one day in our factory in Flagler Street in South Miami, he got his old drum set and he set it up, and I just started watching him play, and I was just enamored with him going around the toms and everything. And so I would watch him, and I copied him. And so I've been playing drums now since I was 5 or 6 years old. And then when I was growing up, I played in my youth group band at school. I played for chapel services. And so I played a lot of Hillsong, different bands, David Crowder. So,
wait. You played with them, or you played their songs?
I played their songs. I wasn't good enough to play with them. Okay. I don't think.
We've got some friends that are actually on tour with Crowder right now that run his sound and do some of his tech stuff.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really boring job.
Yeah, they hate it. They hate it so much. So what's your favorite Crowder song that you played?
What's the one? How He Loves Us.
Ah, there we go. That's the one you played it a couple of weeks ago.
I just played that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So that's how you got started playing drums, and then
what's your favorite drummer, or who is your favorite drummer?
Yeah, that's probably better. Yeah. And what's your favorite drummer would be Animal the Muppet.
Exactly. I'd have to say it's 1A, 1B. I love Stuart Copeland from The Police.
Oh yeah.
And 1B, I'd have to say is Alex Van Halen. I loved his swing style, and I thought that those two are my favorites.
That is, since my mom's not going to be watching this episode since it doesn't feature her, the Hot for Teacher double bass drum solo, the intro to that song is the very first time I thought, you know what, we should get a good drummer. Other than that, I was just happy with somebody like Ringo that could keep the beat and not get off rhythm. Yeah. That was finally the point where I was like,
just stay in the pocket and stay there, please.
Yeah, don't do anything to mess up my bass line. But after I heard the Hot for Teacher drum intro, I was like, you know what? It's time that we get somebody that knows how to do a little bit more than just hit the hi-hats in time.
Crazy. Why would your mom not like that? Just the content of the song? Or
my mom was not a huge Van
video?
Halen fan. Yep.
Okay.
She saw the music video before she heard the song.
Okay.
And then she heard the song and was not a fan.
I've seen that too.
My mother, the Sunday school teacher, was not thinking that Hot for Teacher was what her son needed to be watching at age 8. As I was like, whoa, Nope.
Exactly.
That immediately came off the list.
That and The Simpsons.
Yeah, that and The Simpsons were
Just going to ruin her child.
no-goes in my house. So you've been in the cigar industry for quite a while. I mean, it's how you grew up in doing this. What
Stealing cigars from his
stealing
dad
cigars
at an early age.
from your pop. What have you seen as the most, I guess, the biggest significant change that you guys have made within the Perdomo family that's really put you head and shoulders above your competition?
I think that overall, when you take the amount of years since we were in Nicaragua, just my dad, from the time we were buying tobacco to now when we grow tobacco, my dad, the inventories of tobacco, I think, are our biggest secret, that we have such great big quantities of tobacco, well aged, really good materials. And my dad always thinks of the future. I remember my dad buying Connecticut wrappers one time. He needed to buy a full container for that year. And he negotiated with a guy, and he ended up buying 2 containers, and we only needed 1. But he said, that tobacco, that's like the bank for us. That tobacco is going to carry us through. I'll work it longer. I'll make it even better because I can ferment it even longer. I can barrel age it even longer. So the whole thing is my dad always says, you're as good as your inventory. I think the way we sell cigars, we're big into merchandising. I think overall, we're a good partner with our retailers, so we try to do the best we can to be the best partner, and they've also been really great with us. So I think there's many multiple things. There are a lot of things, but I think overall, when you look at the industry, I think we're kind of in another cigar boom where there's a huge people are smoking cigars left and right. But I think our secret is, and I give credit to my dad, is our inventories of tobacco.
I'm curious. We've talked a lot around the bands, the label, and Perdomo is got one of the most beautiful bands across all of your lines.
Thank you.
When I think of the cigar labels, I think of my father's, and I think of Perdomo as having the standout, just the most gorgeous cigars to look at because of that band. What all goes into the process of designing one of those? Because we've designed T-shirts whenever we were playing in a band, and that seems like a difficult enough task. But the intricacy of the artwork that goes into one of those, what's that process like?
Well, really, it's. I have to give credit to our vice president, Arthur Kemper. He's got such an artistic mind. He really knows how to, when it comes to packaging, attention to detail, just the little things. He's been studying it for so many years, and he just does such a great job. We all collaborate together, but he's just got such an amazing eye when it comes to packaging and when it comes to making different bands and preparing, the packaging for future blends or cigars or repackaging. But also, I think it's in our printing. We use a company out of Holland. All those foils, all those golds, everything that pops out. We use a company called Reverend. And I think that's probably a real big secret for us in terms of when we started using those guys and just their quality of the paper and just the printing. It really it elevates the artwork so much. And
it's gorgeous.
Those
yeah. Well, I do have a question about somebody that works at your company, at least according to the website.
Oh,
so I went to your website and I looked at about us, all of the people on there. I want to know about Jürgen Roeder, because this guy looks like the happiest guy on earth. At least on the website, he's over in international sales. Look at that.
That's right.
Oh yeah. That is a guy that has found his niche.
Yeah. Is that true? Like, is he just having the time of his life?
He is. He loves cigars. I've known Jürgen Roeder probably since I was 4 or 5 years old. He's a gentleman. He's such a great human being. He's in charge of our sales over in Europe. He does a really great job, and he's always happy as long as he's got a cigar in his mouth. That's all that matters to him. So he's a happy man.
What a gig!
Seriously,
going to Europe to sell cigars for Perdomo.
When Jürgen
there
retires,
are much worse gigs.
Yeah. I don't know that I would count that among.
We may need to add.
jobs.
We may need to add that to the video so everyone can see the picture, because this guy is just in heaven.
He absolutely is. We belong to a group called Holy Smokes. I don't know if you're familiar with them. It's a group of about 4,000 Christian cigar smokers and pipe tobacco smokers across the world.
Allegedly.
Yeah. One of the guys.
It's a secret group.
One of the guys that's a member of that group is a guy named Dave Yancey. And Dave
Allegedly.
is an expert at pairing cigars and spirits. And so he had a couple of questions that he wanted us to ask you. The first one is, what is your favorite Vitola? What's your favorite, for those who don't know, it's the ring gauge. What's your favorite size cigar to smoke?
So again, it's 1A, 1B. For me, it just depends with time, but my favorite ring gauge is a 54. But my two favorite sizes are Epicure, which is a 6-inch cigar. So in this case, 6x54, and then the Churchill 7x54. Those are my two favorites. I love 54. I think that's the best.
I like the Churchill too.
I always
just
feel
think
so
it's
diplomatic.
it's just a great name.
It is.
That's really probably mainly the reason why I like it, is I get to feel like Winston for a little bit.
I just want the hat.
Yeah,
like I need the hat if I'm gonna smoke that cigar,
and then you can run 5 feet and run out of air, just like
just like Winston.
Yeah.
And then he wanted to know what's your favorite cigar and beverage pairing?
I'd have to say my favorite cigar. Well, right now, I mean, it's always been for me 20th anniversary Sungrown, or the new 10th anniversary Maduro. I love it with a cup of Cuban coffee.
Ooh.
I love a little Cuban espresso.
Oh, that sounds great.
And if you want to know with a spirit, I do enjoy Scotch. I'd have to say my favorite Scotch is Glenfiddich.
Okay.
That's my favorite. So either the 15 or the 18. Those for me.
Yeah, those are nice.
That's what I enjoy. The 18 is my favorite.
Yeah, you'd have to have a treat yourself weekend in order to get the 18.
Yeah.
But
or a birthday. Maybe a 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, 25-year anniversary. We'll start storing money away now for that. We can't thank you enough for the time. At the end of all of our interviews, we do a segment called Controlled Rowdiness, where we just ask some rapid-fire questions. So we would just want you to answer with the first thing that comes to your mind.
Sure.
Let us know. So if you could only smoke one cigar for the rest of your life, what would it be?
20th anniversary Sungrown Epicure.
Good. Yeah.
That was quick.
What's the biggest humidor that you've ever heard of?
Personal or like an actual store?
Probably personal.
Yeah, personal.
I know stores that got big ones, but
Personal. I have a friend of mine in Montgomery, Alabama. He has his own walk-in humidor in at his home. He probably has 20,000 cigars, 10,000, 15,000 cigars. Yeah,
That's
Crap.
insane.
it puts my 200 to shame. No, 75. I got 75.
Yeah. So if you could work with any other cigar manufacturer to make a signature blend, who would it be?
AJ Fernandez.
That's kind of what I thought.
I love because he makes. No, he doesn't make he makes the new world.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that one a
And
lot.
the Bella
Well, he's a buddy
artist.
of mine too, so he's a good guy.
Yeah.
What's the manliest cigar in your opinion? Like what's the guy?
Perdomo cigar.
A Perdomo. There you go.
Yeah.
Sticking with the brand.
I like it.
the most interesting man in the world. What is he smoking?
Yeah, what's he smoking?
The Perdomo.
Yeah. What do you think is the hardest drum part that you've ever attempted?
Tom Sawyer.
Oh.
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah.
Anything, Peart.
Okay, so were you able to get it? Did you have enough pieces to your drum kit? Because Neil Peart had like 75 pieces on that drum kit.
I got. Look, there's only one Neil Peart. May he rest in peace. But he, I think I did pretty well. I'm not a Neil Peart by any stretch of imagination, but I think I was probably 18, 19. I practiced a lot.
Wow. If you're even getting close to nailing this stuff on Tom Sawyer, that's
you're pretty good.
Pretty impressive.
I would say 70%, which I think 70% is really good.
You know what? If you're ever in Dallas, we might need to call you up so that you can come and fill in.
What do you play? You guys play instruments?
I'm a bass player and he's a guitar player. So we started it.
Can you move to Miami? I've been looking for a bass player because we're the most unselfish members of a group. We keep the time.
Yes, we can move to Miami.
Yeah,
I'm not tied to this place at all.
Kirsten, we're moving to Miami to go hang out with the Perdomos.
Heather, we're moving.
It's going to be fun.
So when I go to Dallas, you guys got a drum set for me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we have an electric drum set inside of a sound booth.
Yep, it's a Yamaha with the plastic rings. No, we don't. We actually
have a full kit.
We have a friend of ours who posted a video of his son playing an electric drum set, and he had it inside a drum cage.
And we just giggled about it.
Yeah, we're like, buddy, that's not. Really don't need that. That's a lot of stuff. So, in the impending zombie apocalypse, what weapons are you going to use to protect the Perdomo estate?
AR-15.
Oh, there you go. That makes sense.
What Perdomo are you going to be smoking while doing that? Because it's pretty awesome to shoot
while
an
you're
AR-15.
smoking zombies with your AR-15. Which are you going to stick with the 20th anniversary?
You can take it out and you can go.
I'll do a 20th anniversary. I'll do a 20th, sure.
Yeah.
10th anniversary, whichever.
Well, you heard it here first. The AR-15 and the 20th anniversary Perdomo are the gear that you need for the zombie apocalypse.
And then lastly, can we be the co-head of sales for Holy Smokes Group?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Perfect.
How can I get on to Holy Smokes Group?
Are you a Christian?
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Then you're
proud
in.
Baptist.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, then we'll send you an invite.
We'll add you.
All right. Well, hey, Nicholas, thanks very much for your time, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Let's do this again soon.
Nicholas freaking Perdomo.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people won't know this. We mentioned it in there. We've been trying to get him on for months.
Yeah.
Like since February, we've had some kind of scheduling conflict, whether our schedule or his schedule or something's happened.
Yeah.
We've had him booked the very first week.
Well, there's some people that
like
we really want to talk to, but you got to have patience, and a lot of people book out where they just like, I got my next 4 quarters planned.
Yeah.
And I've got a little bit of time here and here, but it's vacation. You know, we had that with Seth Dillon where he went on vacation and we just worked around it.
Yeah. And
worked out.
This time, as we were talking back and forth, Nicholas was like, look, I want to do this. I've been trying to get on y'all's show. And
can you believe that?
I know we caught him on the way to the airport. His lovely wife is driving him to the airport. So everybody that's watching, his wife is driving him to the airport. He's not driving and FaceTiming with us. And it's also
not a Tesla.
Yeah. So he's
her name may be Tesla. I don't know.
I don't think her name is now Perdomo. It's Mrs. Perdomo III.
Mrs. Tesla Perdomo.
So anyway, he's being driven so that he could do the interview.
Let's fast forward.
Yeah, he did that so that he could get the interview done for us.
Let's get to the airport.
He's talking to everything. It's just awesome.
So my only question after that is, do we get the cards and then we just submit for reimbursement? Or are they going to send us our
that shows that we are
co-heads of sales for Perdomo Holy Smokes?
I think that would.
I need to get added to this website.
Yeah.
I want to be right next to Jurgen.
You want to be?
I think Danley Gibbs. It'll be a co-picture. Danley and Lucas, co-heads of sales.
I think if we were next to Jurgen, then we would just look like we were not having as much fun in life. I want to be next to somebody that's a stoic, so that my goober smile would be up there and not next to...
That's a good point.
Yeah. Throw me in the middle. Don't put me next to Jurgen. And,
so we'll
all be good.
So we've got some follow-up questions for him. Mainly, how do we get on the website? What information do you need from us?
Yes.
Salary.
Exactly. As co-chairs of the Holy Smokes Perdomo Reception Committee, we would like to extend this laurel and a hearty handshake.
Yep.
But it was just
great Mel Butcher
really
reference.
Cool. He was really laid back. It was a lot of fun.
It was awesome.
In the interview, getting to talk to him about playing in chapel. That's not what I was expecting at all. Turns out we got to talk to him a little bit off air. He's been a believer for a long time, comes from a good, strong Baptist family that just believes that the stuff God planted in the ground is worthy to be smoked. Yeah. Man,
I got nothing. It was awesome.
yeah, this is just one of those times where I'm looking back on it, I'm like, this is not a guy I ever thought we'd get to talk to. And yet,
Nope.
here we are, getting to talk to him, and got a little tiny cigar education about some of the stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
I did not realize the Nicaraguan soil was volcanic, like to 20 feet deep.
Yeah. I wanted to ask him, like, what else do you grow?
Yeah.
Because, like, if you grow jalapenos, are you going to get, like, the sickest jalapenos of all time? And
Maybe.
you probably will.
I wonder if, so you know,
I mean, peppers would grow well.
the shade-grown tobacco is grown in the shade.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many shishito peppers we could grow, like, just underneath his tobacco plants. Because tobacco plants are pretty tall, and shishito's, like, this big.
Yeah.
We could...
I mean, I'm
Maybe
in.
that's our side hustle. When we go down there, we're just going to take a bunch of
Co-head
shishito plants.
sales for Holy Smokes / Shishito grows.
The new Perdomo Shishito line. This pepper pairs best with a nice Sprite and
some soy sauce.
and some soy sauce. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the Reverend and the Reprobate for another week as we get to interview people that we really have no business talking to. And
but we're continuing.
yeah, and maybe if he
going.
comes into Dallas, and he does come a day earlier, we get to jam with him a little bit. We'll give you guys a little bonus content.
Yeah, no,
You can-
I got to
you
start
can check
practicing
and check out.
Tom Sawyer. That also is not easy on guitar.
Well, I've got to sing it and play it at the same time, so
Yeah.
we're fine.
Also not easy on bass.
Nope.
Eddie Lee.
Hi, this is Nicholas Perdomo, Perdomo Cigars, and this is why you should never listen to the Reverend and the Reprobate.